Hello, it's 6 o'clock GMT. You are listening to the Star Breakfast News on your Simply the Best dial 103.5 FM. I am Nurein Abass. Coming up this morning, private legal practitioner Yao Dankwa said it is premature for the Ghana Bar Association to intervene in public banter on the 2.37 million euro ambulance saga involving minority leader Dr. Kaisel Atuforsen.
I think it's premature for the Ghana Bar Association to actually intervene at this point because it's a mere allegation that has been made, and people should be given opportunity to defend themselves, or at least to respond.
Also coming up, National Development Planning Commission advocates long-term policies to stabilize the city, experiencing sharp decline against major trading currencies in recent times.
The depreciation of the cedi has a lot of short-term implications, but you need long-term, medium, and short-term policies and responses. So it's not just, it's a short-term phenomenon which we are experiencing now, but it requires a long-term process to stabilize a currency.
Later, medics linked the soaring number of patients in Ghana's emergency units to the effects of climate change on the health of the public. Details of these stories are coming up shortly, but first, let's remind you of our affiliate stations.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 1035 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Many thanks to you for choosing Star News. Now leading the pack, private legal practitioner Yao Dankwa said it is premature for the Ghana Bar Association to intervene in the public banter between the NPP and the NDC in the ongoing trial of minority leader Dr. Kaisel Atuforsen over the 2.37 million euro ambulance saga. The Attorney General, Godfrey Yabuadami, has come under intense pressure following revelations by the third accused in the case, Richard Jatta, that the AG coerced him to incriminate Dr. Atuforsen. The NDC and NPP have been engaged in a banter over the matter. My colleague Joshua Kodo-Mensah has the rest of the story.
In what now comes across as the public trial of minority leader Dr. Kaisel Atuforsen, the NDC yesterday enumerated reasons why they believe the Attorney General is complicit and cannot continue to remain in office. They accused him of only seeking to prosecute Dr. Atuforsen owing to his opposition to the 2022 budget, the e-levy, and general economic hardship.
As we publicly stated from the very onset of this case, the timing and circumstances of this so-called prosecution shows that it was instituted mainly to intimidate and silence the then-ranking member of Finance, now minority leader, following his vehement opposition to the government's 2022 budget, the e-levy, and the general economic mismanagement by the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government. This is the very embodiment of political witch hunt and persecution.
The NDC's national chairman, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, called for the immediate resignation and prosecution of the Attorney General.
The immediate and unconditional resignation or dismissal of Godfrey Dame for bringing the high office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice into disrepute and public opprobrium. The immediate prosecution of Godfrey Dame for multiple violations of the laws of Ghana. We wish to make it clear that should President Akufo-Addo refuse or fail to prosecute him, a future NDC government will prosecute Godfrey Dame. Commencement of disciplinary proceedings by the General Legal Counsel against Godfrey Dame and his disbarment for conduct unbecoming of a lawyer, and more importantly, the leader of the Ghana Bar.
Moments after the NDC press conference, the NPP responded, discounting the claims made by the NDC, describing Richard Jakba, the third accused, as a hired mercenary.
Clearly, the third accused person is a hired mercenary contracted to exploit his relationship with the Supreme Court judge, knowing the AG's inability to respect the said justice when invited after failing to secure a meeting with the AG. All this is against the backdrop that since the Attorney General was appointed into office, he has been arguably one of the most successful, both in and out of court.
Frank Davis, who is chair of the NPP's Legal Affairs Committee, noted the Attorney General will not resign despite the pressure from the NDC.
We are very clear in our minds that the cause for the resignation of the Attorney General is misplaced, unwarranted, and this will not put any spokes in the prosecution of Kessel Atuforsen and his associates. Ladies and gentlemen, the call for the resignation of the Attorney General coming from the NDC is very, very rich. The NDC calling on the Attorney General to resign from office. That is rich Ghanaians. The AG will not resign. He will continue to remain witty, resolute, and focused in the delivery of his work, as he does always.
You heard a report by my colleague Joshua Kojo-Mensah with calls for the Ghana Bar Association to intervene in the matter. Private legal practitioner Yadankwa says it is too early for such.
Allegations have been made against the Attorney General, and I think his office has, made some sort of response. Of course, we haven't heard from the, Attorney General himself to say anything to Ghanaians, but I think it's premature for the Ghana Bar Association to actually intervene at this point because it's a mere allegation that has been made, and people should be given opportunity to defend themselves, or at least to respond. So I don't think the Ghana Bar Association to get into something that they don't have any evidence to support it, and they're just going by the hearsay or a statement from a person who has made a statement in court. And why should we take it out? Whatever happens in court is for the matter for the judge to make a determination on. It's not for the Ghana Bar Association to interfere with court proceedings.
Meanwhile, political analyst Dr. Jonathan Asante Otri is worried the allegations against the Attorney General have the potential of affecting the fortunes of the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Unless probably this particular tip and other things that are not in the public domain are admitted in the law court, of which the president realizes that there is no way Mr. Godfrey Adame can disentangle himself, that is probably where he will ask him resign. Other than that, at this point in time, with some of these pieces of evidence in the public domain, it does not forebode well for the legacy of the president and that of the chances of the vice president contesting for the elections in 2024.
You heard political analyst Dr. Jonathan Asante Otri. Now, away from that, the National Development Planning Commission is advocating long-term policies to stabilize the cedi experiencing sharp decline against major trading currencies in recent times. It follows Minister of Finance Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam blaming the rapid depreciation of the Ghana cedi on payment to contractors and high cedi liquidity, among others, speaking to Star News on the sidelines of the launch of Ghana Vision 2057, which coincides with the 100th anniversary of the country. Director General of the NDPC, Dr. Kojo Esiem Mensah Brampa, noted that industrialization is the panacea to arrest the fallen cedi.
Let me say that the depreciation of the cedi has a lot of short-term implications, but you need long-term, medium, and short-term policies and responses. So it's not just, it's a short-term phenomenon which we are experiencing now, but it requires a long-term process to stabilize a currency. So if you look at the long-term plan, the first economic activity is to stabilize the economy. Stabilization of the economy also implies the stabilization of our currency, which is very important. Every currency is backed by two things, your production and your reserves. Very important. If your reserves are low, your currency suffers, fluctuations and depreciation.
So that was Dr. Kojo Esiem Mensah Brampa noting that industrialization is the panacea to arrest the fallen cedi. Now, before we go, emergency medicine practitioners are warning that health facilities in Africa, Ghana, not an exception, could be overwhelmed if the debilitating effects of climate change is not properly handled. The medics who handled most emergency wards point out that they are seeing increasing number of patients suffering from the effects of adverse weather conditions and climate disasters. They are demanding clear climate adaptation and mitigation plans to stem the tide of the global climate crisis on health facilities. Ultimate FM's Ivan Heathcote Fumador has more in this report.
Harsh weather conditions, poor air quality, violent storms, flooding, bushfires, drought, and extreme atmospheric temperatures being recorded across the world have been linked to climate change, largely driven by burning of fossil fuels and irresponsible human activity in the environment. These harsh conditions have their attendant risks of extreme poverty, less food, scarcity of potable water, life-threatening disasters, exponential spread of diseases, and worsening health conditions. While some of these conditions might appear remote, a medic with the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital and president of the Medical Emergency Society of Ghana, Dr. Daniel Osei-Kwame, discloses that Ghanaian hospitals have begun experiencing a swell in the number of hospital attendants, admissions, and emergencies as a result of these unfriendly weather patterns.
We are witnessing today an uptick in climate-related disasters, which not only cause physical injuries but also overwhelm our health infrastructure and resources. In the face of these emergencies, the resilience of our emergency medical service is put to the test. Furthermore, climate change acts as a catalyst for the spread of infectious diseases such as malaria, dengue fever, and cholera.
The emergency.
And that was a report by Ultimate FM's Ivan Heathcote Fumador. Will bring you the extended version in subsequent bulletins. This is where we draw the curtains this morning in the Star Breakfast News. Log on to starfm.com.gh for more news update. I am Nurein Abass. Next is Sports Chat, and then Francis Aban comes with Morning Star.